Greetings! It's been a month. I had to look up how long it's been since I've done one of these. It felt like a month, and as it turns out, it has been a month, which is funny because our perception of time is weird often, and it's nice that I was accurate. So I feel horrible today. I basically used up all my energy on teaching this morning for 4 hours, and then I did Toastmasters today. I have to teach again tonight just for an hour. Uh, but I tried. It's most likely because I ate 10 mini Bella mushrooms yesterday, just as a diet experiment to see what would happen. And that went really bad within a couple of hours. So like, my whole metabolic system is kind of crazy. I mean, my whole body literally got like a fever. Like my whole body heated up and my whole body aches and it's tired and interesting. So, Bella mushrooms are out, which they're a lot different than plants and they're a lot different than meat. I thought might work there. And I've tried a bunch of other stuff, carrots don't work and all sorts of stuff. Weird stuff you wouldn't think would have any problem or would cause any problem. And I bought a watermelon today because I haven't tested watermelon. And man, how cool would it be if I could eat watermelon? It'd be crazy. I think it's unlikely. I did test duck recently, and duck turned out fine. The taste was like, eh. But duck worked really good. So right now I can basically eat beef, pork, right, depending on what it's processed with, duck, fish, shellfish, raw goat's milk. And that's the whole list. So, no, it's interesting. We'll see. I have some experiments I'm working on and thinking about. Obviously, I have all the diet stuff going on. I've been working on restoring the lordotic curve in my neck a little bit, which is a curve that goes in. And we don't know if I had one, so it's risky. I think it's definitely either 100%. It's 100% either going to make it better or worse. Not sure how much, but I think maybe significantly, but I don't know which one it is, right? So my knowledge is like 50-50. Probability like that is a measurement of what we don't know, essentially. And I'm really nervous about it because it could go bad kind of either way, but I've been playing with it by not roll up a towel, put it under your neck, lay on the floor, puts a curve in your neck. I have a bunch of studies on it and stuff, maybe like 6 papers. And I haven't read them in quite a while. But I tried this a couple of months ago and then I backed off because I got nervous about it. And it does feel weird, but the idea is to stretch ligaments slightly so that they start to reform with the vertebrae in new positions. So it's not like it's not going to feel a little weird. But I backed off it. Now I'm trying it again, but less extreme in the recliner. So I'm at a 45-degree angle, so the gravity's not the same on the neck, right, on where it's pressing on and how hard. And the way the couch is positioned, I don't get as much of a curve. So there's that. And part of the reason I haven't done one of these in a month is, well, I've just been trying to figure stuff out and make some weird and hard decisions that I've still kind of been pushing off. And then also, I've just been exhausted for the most part doing work 4 hours in the morning, 7 days a week. And I tried that one month where I worked full time and that just fried my health bad. It took me a couple of weeks to recover from that. Barely made it through those couple of weeks being able to do my job. And teaching's going fine. The one company is a huge bureaucracy and a pain in the butt. Another company is a tiny but also major bureaucracy. So weird. But it's going okay. The kids are good. I like the kids. So I've mostly been not doing too much other than just I've been doing working, and I've been doing some other normal life stuff, visiting people and stuff. I'm still doing Toastmasters once a week. I'm going to drop in the near future, over the next couple of months. I'm going to not be the secretary of Toastmasters and not take an officer role, so I can be less involved there. Less of my resources will go there, personal resources like energy. But I need to do more stuff. It's weird because if you have limited ability to do stuff, you need to do more stuff to get yourself out of that position. quite the conundrum. I always thought I was good at problem solving, but man, over these last couple of years, I don't know. I did take Evie on her first zip line. We were the little family get together on Sam's side, and Kristen and the kids, and I took there's a zip line just between two poles with tires stacked up near them, so you can climb up there, and then there's a rope that hangs down with a tire on it, and I held Evie while we went across, which was cool. She didn't know what to think of it. She was amazed by the other kids that were going on the zip line, and then I offered to help the kids to hold them and to let them go, so got myself in the lineup, and yeah, I got her up there. I think Sam handed her up to me, and she had like a weird delayed response. Like after we got off, she didn't react, and then like a little bit later, she reacted from going on it. It was pretty funny. I think later he took her on it too. Milk. I can't remember what my last update on this was. It was so long ago, a month. And I tried cow's milk. I was getting it from the Amish. It's from Jersey cows, so it should have a different protein. And I was thinking that maybe I was having issues with the protein in the milk. Jersey cows should have A2 casein instead of A1 casein. Well, the other type of cows, different cows were bred in different areas, southern France versus England, and they have different proteins in them. Some people have issues with those proteins. So, because I can drink goat's milk, so it's not the lactose. And I thought it might be the protein, tested that out, and I could have gotten colostrum from them, which can be a huge health enhancer. I drank a quart of colostrum from goat's milk one day and felt really good. It's a huge immune enhancer. And I could get a ton from the cows. That was all they had for the goats, right? And the quart I drank in one day. And the cows, I could have gotten a bunch of it for cheap, actually. They were willing to work with me. It was great. But I tested it, and I didn't have like swelling in my throat from it or anything like that, but it just slowly messed up my digestive system. And by slowly, I only mean a couple of days. But I cycled on and off it a couple of times to make sure, because I really wanted it to work, and it did not. So apparently it's the fat. It's some version of the fat in cow's milk versus the fat in goat's milk, which are significantly different, so it makes sense. So that was a failed experiment, unless you consider that I learned some things. So I guess you could call it a successful experiment. Uh, I think I've really been struggling for the last couple of years over identity issues, because you have like your organic self, which is the self that you actually like you feel from the inside, but then you have your symbolic self, and this exists. I've never heard anyone talk about this, but if you connect it with Endel Tolvin's research from the 1970s about three types of knowledge: procedural, which is like things you do; episodic, which are incidents that you remember; and semantic, which are like your words, your concepts. There's three different types of knowledge, and I think to a large extent you have a symbolic self on each one of those levels of different types of knowledge. And I had this identity, which I think I was slow to start forming a relatively strong identity. I think I'm kind of neotenous to a large extent. I'm slow to develop, which humans are in general, but some people are more, and right, they're commonly made fun of in society and whatnot. And I think I'm one of those. And so, oh, you know what? I just realized that I was thinking about doing these videos live on YouTube, and then I wouldn't have to upload them. And this is not live. Should have done that. Maybe next time. Anyways, uh, that identity was slowly forming over time, and I saw myself as kind of, I like to say that intelligence is highly contextual, which is very true, but I do see myself in general as smart, depending on what you're talking about, right? That's the context part, but I saw myself as fairly smart, strong memory, problem-solving skills, resourcefulness, resilience, adventurous, fit, and strong, at least in some athletic way, right? At one time it was mountain climbing or biking or running or powerlifting or kettlebells or whatever it happened. There was, something, one-arm chin-ups. That I could always do something physically that was unusually good in that fitness sphere. And kind of like spontaneous, and always considered myself a hiker. I went hiking a lot, and I mean several times a week, I mean, a lot, often, and for long periods of time, hours. And I can't do that. So I lost a bunch of identity markers, right? Like I don't seem very resourceful, don't seem very resilient, haven't been very smart in quite a while because of all the memory issues, bad memory, can't be very adventurous, can't hike, and you just lose all these semantic markers, all these concepts of your own identity, and then you have to reform one, which is an interesting little problem. So a major problem. I mean, medical issues are major problems, but also issues like that are major problems. Talking about major problems, I have 5 days to decide if I'm going to make this payment for the credit card bill. I have this bill. I've paid off several $1,000s for other medical bills. I have this bill under 10 grand, but the $200 a month is like my car is leaking every type of fluid that it has and dragging the exhaust system, and with two blown struts, and most of the other stuff doesn't work on it either. But you need transportation here, right? Especially like I can't make up for it with walking because I can't take the impact. There's no good solution. I can't just put in more work. It's not a viable strategy for me anymore. It kind of used to be my strategy for stuff. But I don't know if it was a good strategy then either, but now it's not tenable at all. And then my computer, let's see if I can display this. All right, you can kind of see it there. All right, and that corner is held together with electrical tape. This computer is literally falling apart. Which this is how I make money from teaching online. So I need that, and then need the car for transportation so that I don't make very much money at all working 4 hours a day, right? 28 hours a week or whatever. And so it's an interesting decision. My biggest issue with it is the ethical part, right? Because my parents big into paying bills on time. I've never missed a payment. I never had debt until I came back from Africa. And then I thought I was going to get better soon, so I put bills on the credit card because I thought, in a couple of weeks or a month, I'm going to be better. And then a couple of weeks or a month, I'm going to be better. And then I would get to that month, and then a month, I'm going to be better. And then my memory was declining so fast, I didn't think I had very much time. So it's weird. I've still never missed a payment, and I've never been late on a payment. But if someone had given me a personal loan, right, then I would definitely pay them back. Is it the same situation if Chase Bank or whoever owns Chase Bank or whatever conglomeration that is gives me a loan where they've calculated in an interest rate that adjusts for people that default on it as a business investment, right? It seems like the ethics are probably different, but I have been applying the same ethics to the situation, which has been hurting me financially from paying this bill. So it's weird. I haven't completely puzzled it out. I don't think it's a simple issue to easily dismiss, which people on both sides I'm sure do, which is normal for everyone on every side of every issue. And usually they're wrong in dismissing whatever other side there is from my perspective. But so I've been puzzling over that, and that bill is due on the 9th. Normally I pay it in the teens of the month before, like I would have paid it on like the 15th of this last month, and now it's the 4th of May. So now on the 19th or on the 9th is when it's actually due, and I'm kind of nervous about either way, because either way I feel like I could screw myself or violate ethics. It's like if I sacrifice myself for Chase Bank, is that even ethical? And if I'm paying this and then my car breaks down and I can't make the chiropractic appointments, like I super screw myself, or my computer breaks and I can't afford another one. I have a friend, John, who's working on getting another computer for me, which is super nice. That's cool, and that would be really helpful. So it's an interesting problem. And let's see. Oh, so I've been working on a lot of these hard decisions, or which way do you go in life? If you have extremely limited resources, energy, attention, health, finances, right? Extremely limited resources, you have scarcity, you have to make decisions, and the decisions are exclusive. And whatever you don't go with that could have benefited you is the real cost, right? Opportunity cost from Austrian economics. But you really don't know what that is. I mean, you kind of have to guess at it as a starting point. You can make calculations off of guesses. It's kind of like Bayesian statistics is, if you have a guess, then we can plug that into a formula and come up with other numbers. But somewhere along the line, you have to start with assumptions and guesses, conjectures, whatever you want to call them. So how do you navigate that, or how do you make those decisions? And I've been looking into Viktor Frankl and Jordan Peterson a little bit on this, because it's an existential problem. And Viktor Frankl talks about the will to meaning, right? And that meaning is a natural mechanism inside of you that is specifically designed to find what you should be doing, essentially. And Jordan Peterson talks about it in a slightly different way, but in a very similar concept. I've even heard him call it the meaning instinct, which is on the border between the known and the unknown, and how you should manage that. Not something I've solved at all, but I did start making a list of my interests, of just things you're just intrinsically, inherently interested in, how useful that is, or what it would lead to, especially because I kind of need something that's commercially viable. Otherwise, I'm just spinning my wheels. It's not like I have time to work on cool academic stuff because it's cool. I just don't have resources to spend time on that. But I've been playing with it. Like there's Jean Piaget, right? One of the greatest psychologists in history, studied children, their development, super interesting stuff. He has some early papers, originally early speeches, I believe, that were transcribed from 1928 to 1930 on immanence and transcendence in religion, which are completely different ideas on the concept of God. They're still in French, right? It's from Switzerland. They're still in French. I contacted the Piaget Foundation or Society or whatever it is in Switzerland, and they have never in history been translated over into English. They're genius works, super interesting. I would love to have those translated from the French to the English and publish them. That would be an awesome concept. Is that really what I should be doing? I don't know. And in June, I have a wedding I'm officiating coming up. Ashley and Joshua. She wants his name to be Joshua in the wedding. I'm not sure how he feels about that. I think he's okay with it. But that will be cool. And we've been going over, I created a shared document online so we can go over some of the structure and stuff. I've been playing with different ideas about the stuff I'm going to say, and should be interesting. I just ordered the marriage certificates, I think yesterday, today, the other day. Recently, I ordered the marriage certificates, so those are on their way, and that'll be interesting. So there's been a bunch of other stuff that's happened in the last month, right? But a lot of it, I think, is probably pretty minor / repetitive, like things with students and whatnot. There was a conversation that came up about the weird places that you've had classes with students, and I've had some weird classes with students. I had one student that was at a restaurant, right, and she pops up on the screen. She's at a restaurant where everyone's dressed up, like suit and tie, dressed up in China at this restaurant. And she's like, "Oh, hold on." And she walks into the bathroom, and we have the class like in front of the sinks in the bathroom. I think for like half an hour, 25 minutes, something like that. So that was a weird one. I had one with a kid that was walking around a mall, like actively walking around the mall with his parents while they were shopping, and we're having class on his phone. At one point, he sat down in front of a glass wall and with his back up against it so I could see through the glass wall, and there was like a kid's play area there, like a preschool or something, and kids kept coming up to the window and smack against the glass and look at what he was doing, and I could see him and he couldn't see him. It was hilarious, and I'd wave at them, look at them and wave at them, and they would wave back over his shoulder. It was pretty hilarious. And I had one that was a girl that was 16. That one was a boy, so girl, boy. This one's a girl. She was 16. I believe she said she was 16, yes. And so she's in full military uniform, and she's in the barracks. Like, she's in a military barracks. It's apparently a full military high school. It's so weird. So I asked her about that a little bit. Her English was, we could communicate somewhat. It wasn't great, but it was so weird. So she kept having other, like, teenage girls, right? It's the teenage girls' barracks. You could see bunk beds. There were two bunk beds. I assume her bunk beds in the background. And teenage girls in full military uniform kept walking back and forth across the background. Someone would kind of look over her shoulder and see that she was having English class. It was pretty hilarious, super interesting. I wish she would have been more fluent. I could have asked, is it a high school? Is it through the Chinese government military program, like a young military type program? Or is it, what exactly is the arrangement? I still don't know, and I probably never will know. But super interesting. Anyways, I won't go into anything else. I'm at 21 minutes now, so that is long enough to catch up on a month. All right, and I will talk to you guys next time. It's super interesting. I keep interacting with people that say they watch this video, which is really cool because I had no idea if anyone would ever watch these when I first started shooting them. And even had a comment asking about some of my medical treatments for Klippel-Feil syndrome on one of them, and hopefully she looks into some of the stuff and is able to get some help. So, interesting stuff, cool stuff. I use interesting a lot, but that's because I do find most things interesting. I think a lot of people overuse the word, and maybe I do too, but I actually find a lot of stuff interesting, so it seems to be a legitimate use. Until next time, this is Jeff.